Good evening. I'm Tressie Mathis, Director of Hospice of Tift Area and Palliative Care at Tift Regional. On behalf of Hospice of Tift Area and the Anita Stewart Oncology Center, I would like to welcome you to the 36th Annual Tree of Life and thank you for joining us for this very special virtual event. We would also like to give an extra word of thanks to all of those that have so generously given to the Tree of Life. Your donations, whether through the purchase of t-shirts or through the purchase of lights in honor or memory of a loved one, all go towards helping us to meet the needs of our oncology and hospice patients that they might otherwise be unable to afford themselves, and for this we are truly grateful. Tonight's event will include a musical presentation and heartfelt testimonies, along with a special guest that has come all the way from the North Pole to show his support for the Tree of Life and to thank you for your support. We will conclude our ceremony, as always, with the recognition of the names of all of those being honored tonight with donations of light. We hope you will sit back and enjoy the program, and again, thank you for giving to the Tree of Life. At this time, I would like to ask Chaplain Stephen Norris to start us off with a prayer. Stephen?
Thank you, Tressie. Let us pray. O God, we gather tonight in anticipation of the yearly remembrance of your coming to us, to remind us that there is power in love. We ask you to be with us this evening at this 36th Annual Tree of Life ceremony, as we celebrate with story and song the marvelous ways you bless and keep us as your own, and bind us together as one human family. We pray you to turn our hearts towards each other with kindness, humility, and compassion. Use what we offer from our earthly vessels to spread your hope to those who need it most. Bless those who give, and bless those who receive, so that all of us, together, strengthened and renewed in you, might continue the healing work you called us to long ago. Finally, O God, as healers, give us courage to change those things we can change for the benefit of our patients and their families. Give us the peace to accept the things we cannot change, and give us the wisdom to know the difference between the two. This I ask in the strong name of the one who was and is to come. Amen. And now I would like to introduce Drs. Ryan Burns and Joshua Pridemore for a musical presentation.
Thing to song here seems to say, Merry Christmas, may your New Year dreams come true. And this song of mine in 3/4 time wishes you and yours the same thing too. Oh, the same thing too. Oh, we wish you a Merry Christmas, a very Happy Christmas. Mary, did you know your baby boy someday walk on water? Mary, did you know your baby boy would save our sons and daughters? Did you know that your baby boy has come to make you new? And this child that you delivered will soon deliver you. Mary, did you know? Did you know? Mary, did you know? So baby boy gives sight to a blind man. Mary, did you know that your baby boy on the sea with his hands? Did you know that your baby boy has walked where angels trod? When you kiss your little baby, will you kiss the face of God? And baby, did you know? And baby, did you know? Baby, did you know? Did you know that your baby boy is ruler of all creation? Mary, did you know that your baby boy will one day rule the nations? Did you know that your baby boy is heaven's perfect lamb? And the sleeping child you're holding is the great I am. You're the great I am. Mary, did you know? The prophecy, the devil here, all the day.
I hope you enjoyed that great musical performance from Dr. Burns and Dr. Pridemore. Now I would like to introduce Krista Staten and Karen Kimsey. Krista is a breast cancer survivor who received services at the Anita Stewart Oncology Center, and Karen is the daughter of Mrs. Linnell Fulmer, who received hospice services with Hospice of Tift Area.
I'm Krista Staten, and I'm a breast cancer survivor. I went in for just a yearly mammogram, and I had been in before for mammograms. I even had to go back for rechecks before with mammograms, and everything had been fine before. And so again, I went in for this mammogram, and they said, well, just sit back out there and wait. And then they took me back in again, and I could tell things were a little different this time. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, I just had a hysterectomy. Of course, things are different, things have changed. I knew that, I just needed them to figure that out and then just let me go about my way. And the more I kept having to go back for another picture and then wait and another picture and wait, and then I ended up in ultrasound. And I knew then things were not okay. Things were very different than they ever had been before. And by this point, the radiologist is in the room, the surgeon's in the room, and I could tell it wasn't good. I was diagnosed in 2019, almost 2 years ago to this day. It was in October 2019, and things started moving very quickly at that point, which you want them to. You just want to get it out, and you just want to start treatments as quickly as possible. But we went from that point of the ultrasound, knowing things were there, to quickly having a biopsy, and then everything else just started rolling after that. Thankfully, I had been going for yearly mammograms, and so this was caught very early, and the way they described it to me is my cancer was all kind of in a cluster, and it was just before popping open and traveling. And so I was very grateful that I did not put off a mammogram. I was very grateful that I was on time and I didn't just say, oh, I'll do that later, and then never schedule it. But I kept the appointment, and I was always very good about keeping my appointments. And so I was very grateful that it was caught as early as it was. Everything went really fast, and I really did not know what to expect. I did not know what any of these tests were. But after the biopsy and us knowing exactly what we're dealing with, contrast MRIs came after that. And then things quickly began to move towards having surgery and my surgery options. But the women there in the mammo department were wonderful about walking me through every step of the process. And the first thing they did is they said, do not get on the internet, because they knew I was going to go home and I was going to get on the internet. They said, do not get on the internet. And they gave me a really thick book so that if I had any questions, I could go to that book to find all the answers that I needed. And that was extremely helpful, and it kept me off the internet because I didn't want to see horror stories. And so they were very great about just walking me through and helping me know what was next and what to expect and what we needed to do, what we were going to do, and every step of the process that I needed to take. So I finished surgery, and there's a period of time, I believe it was 3 to 6 week window of time that you had to wait till after surgery so you could heal a little bit before you could start chemo. And so they kept me all in that time frame, started my chemo process every 3 weeks. I had to have 4 treatments every 3 weeks. So once I started that, and I ended it in January of 2020. And then we had another period of time to wait before I could start radiation. I think it was another about a 3 week window, and then I started my radiation treatments and finished those in March of 2020. I cannot say enough good things about how Southwell helped me every step of the process. Being in that waiting room at the very beginning and knowing, just having that feeling that you're just about to get bad news and you're sitting there alone, because it was just a normal routine check. I didn't have an army of support with me. It was just me. They came in and just really, from Dawn Law and Stacy, and they just really took care of me. And they're the ones who kind of broke the news to me, and nobody wants to hear that you have cancer. And your mind goes to the worst possible places of, oh my goodness, it was my daughter's senior year of high school. I didn't want cancer to be a focus. Everything's supposed to be happy and good, and we're supposed to celebrate her and accomplishments, and now I have cancer. And so everything changed, and not knowing exactly what I was dealing with at that point, of if it was how bad it was or how early it was caught, was just very, your mind just plays tricks with you and just goes in places it shouldn't. And I quickly really had to pull myself out of that and think, wait, I have a good God. I have a good support team with the people here at Southwell and the people at my church. And I quickly went from oh no to fight mode, and this is not going to define me. But again, all those ladies in Mammo just really wrapped their arms around me. Dr. Johnson was my surgeon. He was wonderful. I could not say enough good things about him. Dr. Shaw and his whole office staff at oncology, they just really went above and beyond and did more than what I ever expected them to do, just taking care and answering questions and very patient and good about everything. I tell all my friends, I just had a conversation with somebody yesterday. I said, get your mammo. Do not put off a mammogram. Just get it. Early detection is the key. And the faster you catch it, the greater your chances are of fighting it. And so it's just something it's not to play around with. And I have none of the risk factors. No one in my family had cancer. I didn't have any of the genetic makeup for getting breast cancer. I didn't have anything. So I really was in the low risk. Nobody was expecting me to have breast cancer. I had nothing. I didn't exhibit any of the characteristics for it, and I ended up with it. So it does not discriminate, and I would say absolutely get your mammograms.
Well, I'm Karen Kimsey. I'm the youngest daughter of Ryan and Linnell Fulmer. I'm also the Director of Learning and Development for Southwell. I come from a very strong Christian family. I have an older brother and sister. We're very close. We have always faced every crisis together as a family. In the fall of 2017, Mama was diagnosed with a very rare, very aggressive cancer called angiosarcoma. There is no cure, just treatments to prolong life. Mama's the strongest person I know, and she faced this diagnosis with the same strength that she had faced every crisis in her life. She had just come through her second surgery and was preparing for a second round of radiation when Daddy passed away suddenly of a heart attack in April of 2018. They were married young. For the first time in 62 years, she had to face life without him. And it would have been so easy to give up, but she didn't. She chose to fight for her children and her grandchildren. She came to live with me, my son Josh. Josh was in college at the time. And when he graduated, he chose to stay and help with his grandmother so that I could continue to work. I've always considered it a blessing that I could take my family to my work family for care. And so we continued to care for her and take her to her treatments. That included chemo, immunotherapy, and more radiation. And then COVID hit. Now more than ever, we were determined as a family to protect her. I was fortunate to be surrounded by such good resources. I had her physicians, I had wonderful nurses helping me. As the cancer progressed, those sweet nurses were educating me on how to take care of her at home. In May of 2020, we had to end her treatments. We had to face the fact that there was nothing else they could do for her. She was in the Lord's hands. She continued to keep a positive attitude. She continued to fight, but She started to decline as the year progressed, and by Christmas we knew that our time with her was getting shorter. I started spending more time at home with her, and on February 17th of this year, I had to face the reality that I could not get her to the end of life. I needed help. We had had a particularly long night, and the next morning I called Tressie Mathis, the director of hospice, and we talked. She listened, and she let me cry, and she told me that we had done everything we could do for Mama, and it was time to let them help us. Within a few hours, Christy Shaw was there. She's a nurse. She came to evaluate Mama, got her a special bed, got equipment that we needed. Jill Booth was assigned to us as our nurse. She did the assessment on Mama, got extra medication, other supplies, everything we needed. Mamie Stevens was our CNA, and Mama loved each of them. I had told her that she would. Landon Alverson is a chaplain, and Crystal Howell is a social worker, and they called to check on me that first day. They offered support and prayers. And I told them I was okay with the grief. I could handle it. I'm strong in my faith. I just wasn't sure how I was going to find a new normal once she was gone. And I remember Landon telling me, "You're not going to find a new normal. Normal's going to find you." And he was so right. You just take it one day at a time, and then eventually a new routine just takes over. 1 week after I called hospice, Mama passed away. Mamie and I had just started her morning routine, and I realized that she was slipping away. Mamie being there allowed Josh and me to grieve and to focus on our family. While she called hospice, I called my brother and sister on my cell phone, and I merged the calls so that we could all be together to tell her goodbye. And then Josh put his smartwatch on her wrist, and we could see her heart decline. And you know, through it all, Mamie stood right there with us. Jill Booth came right away. She did everything. She made all the phone calls. She even called the funeral home and took care of all the paperwork. All I had to do was sign it. Kathy Moneypenny is the bereavement coordinator for hospice. She has stayed in touch with me, and that's a part of the service that hospice offers, is that they follow the family for 1 year after the loss of their loved one. And they offer support and counseling. And this is what I want others to know about hospice, is that it's not just for the patient, and it's not just about the end of life. They're there for the family too. They're there to support the family. Hospice is a gift. It is truly a gift. I will forever be grateful for all the support I had with Mama on this journey. You do not have to do this alone. There are wonderful, caring people just waiting to help you. And yes, they were already my friends, but now they're a special part of my family, and I love them too.
Our next guest needs no introduction. He has just arrived from the North Pole along with his wife and will be doing us the honor of lighting our 36th annual Tree of Life.
Ho, ho, ho! We knew it wouldn't be Tree of Life without a visit from Old St. Nick. Although this event is being held virtually again this year, we are so grateful to everyone watching this virtual event, as well as all of our generous donors who made a contribution. This special event would not be possible without all of you. Thank you to all of the hospice and oncology staff who take such great care of these patients throughout the year. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. It is my great pleasure to light this year's Tree of Life. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Hello, I'm Kirsten Poncell, social worker with the Anita Stewart Oncology Center. Once again, we'd like to say thank you for joining us for our virtual Tree of Life event. By purchasing lights in honor or memory of your loved one, you have not only acknowledged their impact on your life, but have also ensured their legacy continues to gift others in a big way. The donations received through this event allows us to access the resources needed to meet the varied and unique needs of our oncology and hospice patients and their families. So tonight, we'd like to draw your attention to the list of names as we highlight the many lights who continue to shine brightly in our lives. Wishing you and yours a wonderful holiday season, and good night.
Thank